Hello, my name is Marius Messerli, and I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about Mindliner, a product that I have developed with my team, and I'd like to explain what is so special about Mindliner. The content that I'm going to talk about is also summarized on our homepage, mindliner.com. We invented the term knowledge to stand for a atomic, short, standalone piece of knowledge. It can be a decision, a fact, an opinion. And knowledge have a life of their own. So you, as a user, you can specify their classification level. If this is important, you can specify their lifetime. And most importantly, each knowledge can be associated with a number of other knowledge to mimic the associations that we have in our brain. We believe that we should stop using the classic documents and we should start using knowledge instead. Now let me show you why I think this is the case. And for this particular demonstration, I'm going to switch to the desktop application. I've prepared a summary of a hypothetical meeting with a few bullet points. And let me just show you what we see here. We see it looks like a mind map, but Mindliner is not a tree, it's actually a network. So if I open this summary of this meeting, you see three elements in here. So three decisions that have been taken. The first one is the delivery of a product was moved because of stability issues. The second one is that the headquarter meeting spaces, meeting rooms are re-engineered by a star architect. And a third one is that a factory has to be closed and the employees have to be asked to go work somewhere else. So hypothetical decisions that have been taken. Now, if these decisions were to appear in a meeting summary document, because of this last statement, which may not be for immediate public release, the whole document has to be classified. This would mean that normal team members would not have access to the other two decisions, which may be for immediate release. Now in Mindliner, we can solve the problem by assigning individual confidentiality levels. The first one, for example, as an example, I've assigned the confidentiality level management. The second one is for the whole team, and the third one is for the directors of the company for now. This means that the minute or the second that this decision is recorded, it can be found in a company search index and people can see it that this was an outcome of the of today's management meeting. Now to better see the classification, I can now switch from, I can switch the color scheme to show confidentiality levels. So we see the director level has been coded red, the team level is black, and the management level is blue. In order to add a decision, I can simply add a new element to this summary, and we would say next management meeting to be held at off-site location. This is how we add decisions or knowledge to Mindliner. Of course, there are also tasks, so I could now add a task, which could mean prepare agenda for off-site management meeting. This is a task, and I can assign due dates and priorities and whatnot. The important thing about why I've added it for this particular demo is that typically as a meeting host or a chairman of the offsite, I would send an email to everybody who is in the organization committee, and we would together exchange a lot of emails to build the agenda. Now here I have this task. I would immediately now create a collection and say agenda for the company offsite, and then I would, as a chairman, I would lay out the structure for this particular meeting. Technology overview, so we would say tech update. We would have a financial review, and we would have marketing initiative, categories of that meeting. And of course, we would have the days. So we would have, let's say, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and we could even further classify it Wednesday morning and afternoon. So this would be the structure. Tuesday, let's change this as well. So we do a Tuesday, and then we move the afternoon into the Tuesday, and we say this is afternoon, and then we have the morning. Okay, so as a chairman, I would have laid out this structure for our offsite meeting. I could simply take this object and send a link to all my co-organizers or to the entire team. And what they would then add their content directly. In the classic scenario, people would send me their contributions by email, and I would have to filter my inbox and allocate the content appropriately. In this particular example, I can show one is how I prepare a meeting more quickly. The second is how one particular object can be linked to many things. And the third element is how team members can make their contributions and see the updates in real time. So first is, if I would now, let's say I'm responsible for the tech update, and I wanted to speak about the new publish and subscribe system in Mindliner. So I could search for subscription and news. So that's, let's say that's the feature I want to show. And I simply would drag this element now to the tech update content. That's how I would assemble my agenda. Now at the same time, of course, we're going to talk about on one of these half days, we're going to talk about this particular feature. So let's say we choose Wednesday afternoon. Now I can now shift, drag and drop it to Wednesday afternoon, and you see that the same item appears now in two locations in the mind map. It's associated with the tech update, and it's associated with the particular day in which we're going to talk about. Let's assume one of my colleagues is responsible for the marketing initiative. Because I've sent the link to everybody to this object, the person can now individually just create their content. And I'm simulating this by adding now the next element on my cell phone. So I'm typing this right now, and I say discuss idea of paying followers. So my colleague would now do that and then save that element. And what you see on the screen is that as soon as someone makes additions or changes to anything, it appears also on my screen, because the marketing initiative was visible when the element was added. So you see that we can use Mindliner as a platform to collaborate, to build things together, to link things up in any way that we have it in our brains, and not just in my brain, in like someone else has a different perspective and a different association pattern. So what I can now do, we're still colorizing according to confidentiality. Now we could colorize according to owner, and we would see most of the stuff Marius has added, and it's in color 1, and this particular contribution was made by someone else, so it's colored differently. Or we could also colorize it by modification age. So you see, all right, the black elements I have prepared going into this demonstration, and the green elements we have now modified, created, or relinked during this presentation. So it's quite handy to review things like what has actually changed in my network over a particular period of time. I hope I could show you that knowledge are much more agile than documents because they have a life on their own. Then what I'm going to show you next briefly is that it's all about search these days. Usually I start my work with a Google search, and content that is not searchable or not indexed is of very limited use these days, especially when working in a team. So at Mindliner we say, okay, if I'm going to search with a single search string against a single text field, why make data entry more complicated? Why should the users be asked to fill lots of fields when in the end it all ends up in a single index? For that, I'm going to start the Mindliner web interface. Of course, I'm now going to search for my agenda. So just say agenda as a search string, and we see the elements that we've created before. So for example, this one here, agenda, which is part of our company meeting. So you see here, prepare agenda for offsite management meeting, and these are the individual contributions. So let's say I'd like to make a contribution for the financial review. Now the Mindliner data entry is essentially a headline field. So this is where I add new content. Q1 summary, and everything else is optional. And if I return to the desktop application, we now see this contribution in the financial summary, present Q financial review, agenda point, present Q1 summary has been added automatically. It's like, imagine like a Skype conversation with many different chats visible on screen. So a lot of people can make a lot of contributions at the same time, and they're all pushed to everybody who is actually currently looking at it. Okay, so back to the Mindliner webpage. So we see that we've tried to simplify data entry and also make it fit for search, which is the prime application these days of knowledge management. Associations are made by people, so it's every link and every knowledge is created by a person who backs up the information and contributes the meaning to it. It's not algorithms that create this link. Because knowledge are so easily reusable, Mindliner is a very good tool to keep redundancy low. And the principle of do not repeat yourself has been vital to the software industries, in the last years. And we believe that the same principles should be applied to knowledge management as well. I should have only a single copy of a decision in the entire company. If I have two, I'm going to have version nightmares, and I'm going to have misunderstandings and whatnot. And of course, I'm going to have data replication. So Mindliner encourages people to use a single copy of everything. I hope you enjoyed this brief demo. I'd like to show you more about Mindliner and why I've created it and what can be done with it. Thanks for watching.